Hello and welcome back to Beginning Algebra, or Algebra 1 series. Today we'll be doing Lesson 8, Order of Operations and Simplifying Expressions. This is a very good tool to use in order to determine the correct answer when you're doing simple arithmetic problems. This is important when you're doing complex algebra, so it's good to understand this type of structure when you're doing any kind of math. There is an easy way to remember each step or operation on its order. You can remember this as PEMDAS, or Please Excuse My Dear Aunt Sally. The order goes from the P being the first type of order to be done to the last with the S. P represents parentheses, so you will do the parentheses, anything in the parentheses first. Next would be the exponents. Exponents are like x over something. So when you have x to the power of something, then you have to be multiplied x so many times. Next would be multiplication and division. The next operation that you would have to do would be adding and subtracting. So let's do a little quick example. We have 5 with the parentheses, 5 plus 5, with end of parentheses with 5 added onto the last. The first thing that you need to do is indicated by PEMDAS. Parentheses. Anything that's in parentheses needs to be taken care of first. So the 5 plus 5 needs to be done first. So you have 5 plus 5 would be 10. Then you bring everything down as is. The next thing would be multiplication and not do the addition first. So do the multiplication. 5 times 10 is 50. Now all that's left is to add it together. So 55 would be your answer. If you did this in any other order, you get the wrong answer. I know we just learned to distribute, and you can also do that too and still get the answer. So it's just best to learn this order of operations to get the answer always. You can do 5 times 5 plus 5 times 5. 5 times 5 is 25 plus 25, which will give you 50. You bring down your 5 and you give you 55. You get the same answer. But it's best to practice the order of operations always. Unless you're told to distribute, then use the distributor properties. So, say we didn't follow the rules, and we just simply did what we wanted to. Say we added them up, 5 plus 5, 10, and bring down 5, and do the addition first instead of the multiplication, which would give you 15 times 5, which would give you 75, and that is not the correct answer. So remember to follow PEMDAS in every form of operation that you do. This will maximize the correct answers or the correct terms that you get. If you wanted to multiply an equation on one side, you must do it on both sides. So if we multiply a -1 on this side, we must multiply the other side by a -1. This would not change the equivalence, because as an example, if you have -1 times x, the answer would still be -x. -x is still equal to -x, so the equivalence has not changed. As long as you multiply one side, you must multiply it to the other side. And this does division or addition, as long as you don't change the equivalence. So say we have -x plus 5 minus 5 minus 16x. You multiply -1 on one side, and you multiply a -1 on the other. The reason why you would do this is to eliminate a lot of the negatives and make it more positive. So we get x minus 5 plus 16x equals 2. This eliminated a lot of the negative values and makes sometimes the math easier. This still makes the statement true. So we can do the math. We have -5 plus 5 is 0. We get x plus 16x equals 2. Go ahead and do x plus 16x. You get 17x equals 2. 17 on 17x divided by 17, you get 1 on that side. You solve for x, you get x is equal to 2 over 17. If this still doesn't make any sense, don't worry. We will go over this again in another lesson. Say we have 3x plus 5x minus 2x. And that will be in the parentheses. Plus 5 times 6. Don't forget PEMDAS. First we have to do the parentheses. 3x plus 5 times 6. So you get 3 minus 2, which would be 3x. Bring everything else down. 3x plus 3x times 5 times 6. We have done everything in the parentheses. Now you do the multiplication and division. 5 times 6 is 30. Bring all the other x's down. Now you do the adding and subtracting. So everything else is left is just adding. So you do 3x plus 3x is 6x plus 30. That is your final answer. Since there's no other like terms that you can combine. Example number 3. Go ahead and do your PEMDAS right off to the side. So you have negative times 2x plus 7 plus 5 minus 6 times 3 minus 2. Do the parentheses first. 3 minus 2 is 1. Bring everything down. Do the other parentheses if you like, but you can do it later. There's no exponents. We still have parentheses, but there's nothing to be done with them. 2x plus 7, you can't combine those any further. So go ahead and do your multiplication. 6 times 1 is 6 still. Bring everything else down. You can drop the parentheses, since nothing can be done with those numbers. And then you can distribute the negative value. You're just indicating negative 1 times 2x plus negative 1 times 7, which would give you negative 2x minus 7. Go ahead and do your adding and subtracting. You can do either one first. I like to do the adding first. Do the negative 7 plus 5. Negative 7 is a bigger number than 5, so your answer will be negative. Now just do the regular subtraction. And you get 2, so you get negative 2. Bring everything else down. You get negative 2x minus 2 minus 6. Do the subtraction. Negative 2 minus 6. You're just simply doing two values that are negative. Since you'll become more negative, your answer will be negative. Do the regular addition, which would be 8, and you just add a negative 8. So negative 2x minus 8. That will be your final answer because you can't combine any more terms together. Example number 4, we have 10x minus 3y plus 4z plus 6 times negative 3x plus 5y minus z. Go ahead and write your PEMDAS. Do everything in the parentheses you can. So combine everything in like terms. There's nothing you can combine in the first one, but the second one you can. You can distribute the 6. You're multiplying it together. So 3 times 6 is 18. 6 times 5 is 30. And 6 times 1 is 6. So you get negative 18 plus 30 minus 6. Don't forget to add your variables at the end if you forgot. So it'll give you negative 18x plus 30y minus 6z. Bring everything else down. You can do your combine like terms. You can rearrange the equation to make it simple. So you can rearrange it in order of variables, like I've done here. X first and y, then z. So 10x minus 18x minus 3y plus 30y plus 4z minus 6z. Just rearranging the equation. So go ahead and do your subtraction of the x's. You get negative 8x. Then you do the y's. You add them together. You get 27y. Then do the z's. You get negative 2z. Since there's no other like terms that you can combine, that is your answer. Don't forget to smiley. Don't forget you can make sure you have to go over and over PEMDAS. Make sure you check to see if there's any more parentheses. Then do the multiplication, exponents, and do it over and over until you get your answer. Example number 5. Say we have x plus 2 plus 10 minus 5 times y minus 3 plus 12. Do the parentheses first. You can do one side or the other. Do the multiplication. Do the distribute. So the 3 is distribute to the x plus 2. So 3 times x plus 3 times 2 plus 10. Bring the 10 down. Go ahead and do the other side. Distribute the 5 to the y and the 3. So 5y minus 5 times 3. Then bring them 12. Go ahead, 3x plus 3 times 2 is 6 plus 10. Don't forget to check the PEMDAS. See if you're doing it out of order, or if you are, then go ahead and do the other side of the equation. 5y, and then 5 times 3 is 15, so you get negative 15. Then you have 12. Now you just have adding and subtracting. You don't have any division. You don't have any exponents. Go ahead and add the like terms together. 6 plus 10 is 16. You have 3x still, minus the y and the other numbers on this side. Now we do negative 15 over 12. The answer will be negative since negative 15 is bigger. You get negative 3, so 5y minus 3. Since everything in the parentheses is already combined like terms, you can't do any further, then you can drop the parentheses. Now simply write it as 3x plus y minus 5y minus 3. You can rewrite this with the x being first and the y and then the number. So go ahead and bring down everything from the 3x plus 16 minus 5y minus 3. You get, don't forget to distribute the negative. You get negative y plus 3 because you're multiplying the negative times the negative 3. So you get 3x plus 16 minus 5y plus 3. You can rewrite this as 3x minus 5y plus 16 plus 3. Go ahead and do 16 plus 3, which will give you 19. 3x minus 5y plus 19 will give you the answer. Don't forget to distribute the negative number, because that will mess up your answer. You could get a different answer. Example number 6. We'll do a little harder one. We have 2 times 2 to the 2 power plus 3 to the 2 power plus 5x plus 3x minus 5. Go ahead and drop the parentheses by doing the addition inside them. 5x plus 3x, 8x. Now bring everything else down. Now you do the exponents. Exponents is just simply whatever the numbers in the exponent is telling you to multiply the base number by. So if you have 2 to the power of 2, it's telling you to multiply it 2 times. 2 times 2 is 4. Same thing applies to 3. You're going to multiply it 2 times. So 3 times 3 is 9. Now you did the exponents. Now you can rewrite this as 2 times 4 plus 9 plus x. 8x minus 5. Do the multiplication. 2 times 4 is 8. Now you just bring everything else down. Now you can do the addition. 8 plus 9 is 17. Bring everything else down. Now you have 17 minus 5 plus 8x. Do your regular subtraction. You get 12 plus 8x. And that's all your answer. Let's do a little more complicated one. We'll do 3 to the power of 2 minus 5 to the power of 3 plus 5. And then make a division sign. 2 to the power of 3 plus 5 to the power of 2 minus 1 to the power of 3. There's no parentheses. Let's do the exponents first. Let's do the 3 over 2, or the 3 to the power of 2, which is 3 times 3, and which is 9. Now we do 5 to the power of 3, which is 5 times 5 times 5, 3 times. 5 times 5 is 25, times 5 is 125. Now we'll do the next one. 2 to the power of 3, which is 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4, and times 2 is 8. We already know 5 times 5 is 25. And now we'll just do 1 to the power of 3, which is 1 times 1 times 1, which is 1. Go ahead and plug everything in. We know 9 would represent the 3 to the power of 2, and negative 25, or negative 125 would be the equivalent of 5 to the power of 3. Now you just have 5 on top with the rest of them. Now you do the bottom. You know what the equivalent of 2 to the power of 3 is 8. And you know the equivalent of 5 to the power of 2 is 25. And you know 1 to the power of 3 is just 1. Now there's no division in parentheses. Now you just do the adding subtraction. Go ahead and do the top fraction first. Negative 125 plus 5. The top number would be larger, so you get a negative value. Go ahead and do the regular subtraction, and you get negative 120. So you just do the subtraction of negative 125 and 5, you get 120. Now do the 25 plus 8, which would give you 33. And you have the negative 1, so your problem should say 9 minus 120 over 33 minus 1. Now the negative 120 minus 9 should just be a regular subtraction, but it's going to be negative because negative 120 is bigger than 9. So go ahead and do your subtraction. You get negative 101. That will be on top. Do the bottom subtraction. You get negative 101 over 32. Go ahead and do the division for that. Let's try it. How many times does 32 go into 111? Well, let's try it 3 times. It gives us 96. Now, let's try 4 times. That'll give us 128. That should be over. So let's do the 3 times. At 96, we might have to add more decimal places. So let's add a 0 with the decimal. Let's do the subtraction, and we get 15. 15 is too small to be divisible by 32, so bring down the 0 and do 150. Well, we know that 32 times 4 is 128. That's close, so we got 128, and we'll say put the 4 on top. We can do more places decimal if we bring down another 0. We're left with 22. Bring down the 0, we got 220. We could just stop there and say 2 decimal places is good enough. So the answer would be 3.46. Or we can write it as 3 and 15 30 seconds. The value should be negative. That was a mistake of mine. We'll put that negative in there. So you can have either negative 111 over 32 or negative 3.46 or negative 3 15 30 seconds. Either way you want to write it, it's all equal. So let's do number 8. We'll do another big one. Say we have 3 to the power 2 plus 5 to the power 2 plus 10 to the times 3. And then make another fraction on the bottom. Negative 3 divided by negative 5 divided by 5. Go ahead and do the PEMDAS. Let's do our exponents. Let's do them off to the side so we know them. Then plug them into the top portion because we already figured them out. 9 plus 25 plus 10 times 3. Go ahead and rewrite the bottom again. Now let's do the multiplication. Go ahead and do the 10 times 3, 30. Go ahead and rewrite the bottom again. We didn't change anything. Now let's do the division. Negative 3 divided by 5. Or we can just write it like this. Negative 3 over negative 5. And this would be divided by 5. Since we have negative 3 divided by negative 5, you would make that positive because the negative divided by a negative would be positive. Now remember doing this back and a few lessons backwards. In order to do this, we need to flip the right fraction, and we can multiply it. So we have 3 divided by 5, which would be times 1/5. Go ahead and do the math. Top fractions will be multiplied, so 3 on the top, and the bottoms will be multiplied. So 5 times 5, 25. So 3/25. So what we get on the bottom is 3/25, and we'll leave the top because we haven't done it. Now we can do our adding. Go ahead and add the 25 and the 30 together. You get 55 plus the 9. You get 64. Now you get 64 divided by 3/25. Now the same thing applies here. We can flip this right one and do the multiplication. 64 times 25. That'll give you the top portion of the fraction. You get 1600 divided by 3. Now we can go ahead and do 1600 divided by 3. Do it in the square. How many times 3 go into 16? We can say 15. You can say 5. Bring down the 1. And then bring down the 0. Give you 10. 3 times 3 is 9. So we can say it goes in 3 times. You also get a 1. You also get a 10. Can you bring down the 0 again? Then you can do the decimal place. Looks like it repeats over and over. So we get 533.3 repeating. Or we can say 533 with a fraction of 1/3, because 0.33 repeating is 1/3. When you're doing these big problems with fractions, make sure you do the top fraction, big portion first, to the bottom fraction. It'll make things a lot simpler in the long run instead of trying to divide everything. Try to do the division last. You can separate the order of operations a little bit when you're doing fractions like this. Alright, that concludes this lesson of Lesson 8, Order of Operations, Simplifying Expressions. We thank you for watching our channel and this video. Please like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below if you have any questions. Also, we would love your support by donating to our channel. You can simply doing this by clicking on the eye in the right hand corner of our video. It should click on it, and as you click on it, it will come up with options and give you support for the channel. You can also see that we have a listing of our playlist of this series, Beginning Algebra. Alright, thank you very much. Have a nice day.